everybody, Ms. Diorio here, and I am going to show you how to make your own rock decorated like a fish that represents you. So, the first thing you'll need is a piece of white paper and a pencil or something else to write with, but pencil would be easiest. And you need to come up with some things about yourself that make you unique. So, here are some things I came up with about myself. Number 1, I love art. I bet you knew that. Number 2, I love to be outdoors in the woods. Maybe you didn't know that. And number 3, you definitely know that I like silly jokes. So, I'm going to plan out what my fish is going to look like based on those 3 things. So, I have my white paper here. And I'm going to start with a big oval to show the shape of the rock. Maybe you'll find a rock that's not an oval. Maybe it's a circle. Maybe it's more of a square. So whatever shape it is, that's what you'll draw. All right, now I am going to mark off a spot for my head. This is very difficult to draw like this. And I'm going to draw an eye. You want to make sure, I don't know if you can see my lines here, make sure that you are pressing down really lightly in case you need to erase. I am going to add in my glasses because I wear them every day. And it's an important part of who I am and how I look. And I'm going to make my little fishy mouth open because I'm telling silly jokes in this picture. And I'm going to add a fin. Just want to pull that a little closer so you can see it so far. I realize when I pull it back you can't see. That's so sad. Here, maybe I'll hold it here. I'm going to put some leaves on my fin because I love being outside and I love being around trees and walking in the woods. It's like my favorite. And then I'm going to make the rest of my fishy body a paint palette because I love art, as you know. So these are kind of like globs of paint. Woo-doo. Cool. Now, the next thing you're going to want to do is get something to color it in with. So I chose markers, and I just dropped a marker. That's okay. And then you're going to color it in so that you know what colors you'll use. So I already colored mine, and I'll show you what it looks like. It looks like this. So now I know exactly what colors I need when I paint my rock. You can get a rock that is just about any size, but you don't want it to be too big, otherwise we won't have room for them in the school. So the rock I chose is about this big. And you might want to get kind of like a really small, thin marker or Sharpie to outline, especially if your rock is this small because you might have some really small details. So I used like a little Sharpie pad like this, and I just outlined what my fish is going to look like, and I based it off of my planning sketch that I made. So now you can paint it in. You can probably also use Sharpie to color it in if you have Sharpie but no paints. If you do have paints, I recommend acrylic. That will work best on the rock, but of course, you know, use whatever you have. And you're going to want something to pour the paints out in. An egg carton works really well, as does a paper plate. And you're going to want a cup of water and a pretty small paintbrush, especially if your rock is small because you're going to have lots of little details. So I am going to use the sketch that I made. Where is it? This one. To tell me what colors I need to paint my fishy rock self-portrait. And does this self-portrait look just like me? No, it doesn't, right? It expresses who I am, and express is one of our studio habits. So I have my paints here, and I'm gonna just start filling in all of the colors in my rock. I think I'm gonna start with yellow for the face. Oh, and you can't see that so well. Here, I'll hold it closer. Notice how slowly I'm working. There is no need to rush. Something else that might help, I noticed that my yellow is not super bright. If your colors are coming out really faded, you might even paint your rock white before you add in your colors and before you even sketch out what your rock fish self-portrait is going to look like. Now let's say you are really not feeling the whole fish thing and you really would love to paint your rock some other way. That is totally okay, because this is supposed to represent you and no one else, and it shows how unique you are because no one is like you. Or at least no one's exactly like you. Shouldn't say it like that. So I'm just kind of going slowly, coloring in the lines as best I can. Move my water bottle. And I noticed that there's one other place where there's yellow. So I'm going to do all of the yellow areas before I wash my brush, just because it'll make my life a little easier. Because there's also yellow on the paint palette. And now I'm going to wash my brush. So I'm just going to swish it around my paint cup, tap it on the edge a little bit, and I'm going to get my next color. And I think I'm going to use red next. Does it matter? No. Once again, going slow, taking my time here. Especially when something is as small as this, you really want to go slow. That will make your life much easier. Now I'm going to do the red and the paint palette. And now I'm going to wash my brush and get the next color. I think my next one's going to be white. So I'm going to get just a little bit. Notice how little paint I'm putting on my brush here, folks. It's not a lot. Because when you're working super small, you're going to make your life a lot easier if you just put a little bit of paint on your brush each time. I think I'm going to have to go back over some of my black lines here. And that's okay. If you have to go back over anything, you're going to want to do it after your paint dries. All right, now I'm going to do green. And my rock is going to have lots of green because I have the part with the paint palette. And I also have the fin, which has all these little leaves on it. So I think I'm going to paint my leaves like different shades of green, just so you can kind of like see them stand out from each other. So I'm going to do a few that are like this one shade, and then maybe a few that are another green. Maybe you only have one type of each color, and that's fine. Just use what you got. No big deal. The point is to have fun. I feel like I want even another shade of green. I'm going to mix some yellow with it. This is a great opportunity to experiment with mixing colors. So I'm going to add in some of my yellowish green right here. And Now I'm gonna do kind of like a bluish green for my next one, because we know that green has both yellow and blue. So we can mix those to make different shades of green. How cool is that? Guys, I think I'm going overboard on the whole green situation. It's just too fun to mix colors. I know. You want to see how it's going to look when it's done. So I will finish painting my leaves. And that is my fin. Woohoo! I just got a little bit of green in my yellow by accident. So I am going to add more yellow to that. Because the fun part about making mistakes in acrylic paint is that you can go right over it. Yay! It's like there are no mistakes in acrylic paint. Alright, I'm going to add the last colors on my paint palette there. So I've just got blue, blue blob, boop, and then the last one is orange, the opposite of blue, interestingly enough. And I'm pretty happy with this now. So here's how it looks so far. It's kind of tricky to see, even when I hold it super close, all of the details after I've painted it. So after it dries, I might want to go over it again with that black Sharpie, or if you have a black marker, any kind will work. And I would probably kind of redefine some of those details just by outlining. So here is my rockfish. There are all sorts of cool ways that you can decorate your rock to look like you. I've got some other examples here that other people made. So have a great time painting your rocks. I can't wait to see them all around the school. They're gonna look so beautiful. Bye everybody. Thanks for watching.